you do. So we're really happy to have you here again. This time I'll help you. So please welcome Thomas Lennon back to the
if you, to book fans, if you've never torn the meniscus in your knee, you did? Oh yeah, that's what I did. So William Faulkner said, between pain and nothingness, I will take pain. But I don't think he ever tore his meniscus. It was awful. Anyway, I'm sorry I missed you guys a couple weeks ago. Thanks for having me back. I'm going to keep adjusting this microphone the entire time until I fly into the hey guys, so I'm gonna read a bit from the book. We'll talk about the book. I'm also going to sing a couple of songs that leprechauns taught me when I was researching the book in Terminog, the land of the wee folk. Did you introduce me as New York Times bestselling author Thomas Lennon? Come back.
Let's rephrase that. New York Times, I'll be here. New York Times best-selling author Thomas Lennon.
Oh my God. You don't have to choose that. Because if you're wondering, what does it feel like when you become a New York Times best-selling author? The answer is nothing. You don't feel anything. It's just like the rest of life as a grown-up. You feel nothing. And then one day your meniscus tears, and suddenly you feel all the feelings you never felt before. We'll start with one of the. I'm going to start with one. Thanks for turning out, you guys. I know it's a school night and it's a weeknight, and I appreciate everybody coming out, especially when I couldn't be here before. I don't know if you saw, so I tore my meniscus. Here's a very funny part of that story. I tore my meniscus in 3 places, and then you don't have to be quiet. It's okay. I have a child, and I know it's awful. Every second of it. You're a superhero just for doing any parenting at all. So I tore my meniscus in my knee, and then I thought it'd be a really funny idea to go on Stephen Colbert and do a sketch where I'm on my knees playing a leprechaun. So I spent like 90-some minutes the day after I tore my meniscus on my knees thinking, oh, it'll be okay. No, the answer is it's not okay. This is one of the songs if you've read the book, leprechauns and unicorns do not get along at all. The unicorns have a horn on their head that's called a dowser, and it's specifically designed to kill leprechauns. So this is a song, this is a leprechaun propaganda song. And it goes exactly like this. It was talking, again, this does not reflect my views and opinions. This is the views and opinions of leprechauns, who are the worst people in the world. It goes like this. A man was brave, beloved by all, and he stood 1 foot 6 inches tall, and his beard and braids all ruby red. But that's the past. The wee man is dead. For he was killed by unicorns, killed by unicorns. The women's gone, a mother mourns. We're all gonna get killed, killed by unicorns. Well, some say they're cute, but you know that's a con, and their horns is just made for killing leprechauns, and they don't even eat us, which makes us all odder. So technically that's meditated manslaughter. Don't be fooled by their glitter and their colorful manes, 'cause they'll kill us for pleasure and then plead insane. And them sharpies is crafty and sly and beguiling, but really they're nasty. I'm not just profiling. And they'll stab you and poke you and do it while smiling. And their rap sheets are epic with state charges. Finding unicorns is suspicious. They're up to no good. Plus their meat is delicious. Let's hunt them for food. All killed by unicorns, unless we get them first. Let's kill them unicorns. They're just pointy horses. You know that they're the worst. Now some say it's our fault. We drink till we die. But how about them unicorns? What's their alibi? And it feels like a setup, you're taking me for granted. And the DNA don't match, this stuff was all planted. But I swear on my beard I'm not making this up. And it says it was the unicorns. Kindly get stuffed all killed by unicorns. We're gonna get killed by unicorns. Death will come in pointed forms when we get killed by unicorns. That's a song about unicorns, which I know kids who read books love unicorns, but you haven't read my book yet, so that's now I'm going to read from the book a little bit if people would like that, yeah?
Yeah.
And then we'll randomly do questions about basically anything. This is, oh, by the way, thanks for buying the Barnes & Noble edition. The Barnes & Noble edition of the book is by far the best edition of the book. It includes, when it says, Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, some writers get super lazy, and you can include like an interview or like something that you threw away, but I didn't do that. I wrote there's an entire 16 pages in the back of this book, which is the Special Unit Handbook that I'm really proud of. And it has all the, like rules and regulations for if you join the special unit of Tiernanog. Important things like what's the Wi-Fi password. I think I've gotten very sick from the cafeteria. Could this be true? Anyway, so yeah, it was very, Barnes & Noble's been really sweet to me. And I appreciate them putting out the best edition of the book. And now I'm going to read a little bit from the book, if that's cool with everybody, yeah? And then I'm going to read a little bit from I Mom So Hard, which is the next book that's coming up here to be signed. Okay, so the first section I'm going to read starts. That's this, right? Okay. Sorry guys. Sometimes I fold these over, but I was not trying to ruin this book that I just picked up. Okay, here's the Bridge of Riddles. By the way, the Bridge of Riddles, there's a reason, you'll see why it's called, the book is called that. So close. Suppose. Oh no, it's okay. It seems like it's fine if it happens. Oh, sorry, here we go. I know exactly where it is now. Oh, here we go. So this is when they get to the actual Bridge of Riddles, which is fun because kids, you get to, there's a question coming up that you get to answer if you're incredibly clever. Okay, here we go. I read this with an Irish accent, which I should have told you in advance. So in case it seems weird, if you get the audio book, I read it with basically the accent that my grandmother had. She lived in the United States for 75 years, but never got rid of her accent. I don't know how. Okay, here we go. The bluffs loom over a chasm several hundred feet straight down. At the bottom of the canyon, far below, looked like a river, but on closer inspection it was actually a vast swath of four-leaf clovers undulating in the wind. So much bright green clover that created the illusion of water, rippling with the current. Across the chasm in the sky was a tornado of hundreds of rainbows, twisting and swirling together. Even in Tir na Nog, rainbows always point toward leprechauns and their pots of gold. So when you have an entire city full of leprechauns, it's bound to have a violent rainbow storm swirling above it. Nog bottom, said the captain, pointing to the multicolored typhoon. We'll have to cross that bridge to get to the town itself, and her finger drew a line from the town to the ruins of what looked like an ancient stone aqueduct. But how? I asked. as the bridge was clearly broken in the middle, providing no pathway to the other side of the chasm. "It's the Bridge of Riddles, guarded by a fair Jerig whose name we've never guessed," said the captain. "If we can answer one of its riddles, the bridge will be complete for a moment, then we'll run for it." A moment later, Lily is a wolfhound. She's on the cover of the book, this giant dog. The Irish wolfhound is the second or third largest dog in the world, and they can get up to be 180 pounds, which is basically what I weigh right now. So, a moment later, Lily, the captain, and I arrived at the keeper's house below the Bridge of Riddles. Sure enough, a fair Jerig whose name nobody had ever guessed was just finishing his lunch, which seemed to be some sort of potato and leek pie with onions, white truffles, and tarragon. It smelled delicious. "Give us a minute, loves," said the fair Jerig, as he wiped his rat snout with a napkin. He rose from his comfy chair in the keeper's house and tucked his tail back into his breeches. He refastened his belt and put his hat back on, groaning and stretching his tiny little body. Fair Jerigs tend to look like red wombats with stubby little tusks that jut up from an underbite that they all seem to share. This one's body was almost a perfect circle, and under his snout his fur was brushed into a moustache. He wrapped the unfinished portion of his amazing smelling pie into the napkin and waddled towards us. €3.50 for the riddle, please, he said. Each. "Do we pay for the dog as well?" I asked, as the captain counted some money from yet another pouch on her crowded utility belt. "No, just for the beefies," said the fair Jerig, using a derogatory name for humans that many fairy folk use. As the story goes, beefies is slang for humans because we smell so much like meat to the fairy folk. But the real meaning of the term dates back to the time when Ireland was under British control, and the Queen's patrolmen of Tirnanog were a division of the yeoman warders, the guardians of the Tower of London. These yeoman warders, even today, are called beefeaters, and that's the real reason that we humans have this nickname amongst the fairy folk. Captain Devalator handed him €10, and he took what seemed like forever to make change, squinting at the coins. Let's see, mumbled the fair Jerig. "A riddle to keep the beefies out of Knogbottom." And he flipped through a giant dusty tome of riddles with his stubby claws. "Ah, here's a gem," he said, as he closed the book and locked it. And this is the riddle that the unnamed fair Jerig gave to us as best I remember it. Kids, here's your chance. This is a riddle that, if you get the answer to it, you get a free appetizer at the Macaroni Grill across the street. And just tell them that I said it's okay. Here's the riddle. Ready? "I always trot, yet make no sound. When babies come, the da is how Irish people say dad. When babies come, the da gets round. And though I'm equine through and through, you'll find me in the deepest blue." Kids first, before adults don't. I know adults know it. Oh, yes, the young child in the hat. Stork? Excellent guess. Excellent guess. Young sir with the glasses that look kind of like that. Narwhal. Excellent guess also, but no, there's only one animal in the entire world. Seahorse is exactly right. Very nice. It's the only animal in the known world where the dad carries babies in his belly. No? So very nice. Run over to Macaroni Grill. Say Tom sent you. And just get like the arancini, the rice balls, or anything you want. And when they ask you for money, you say, no, I'm a kid. I'm going to play a couple other Uniburn songs. Maybe I'll take some questions now. People have questions about the book or about anything you want to ask about? Yes, Monsieur. Cool glasses, green glasses guy.
Where were you born at?
I was born at, very specifically, you ready for this? I was born in the same hospital as Betty White. Thank you. 70 years apart. So there was a short gap when I was born at Oak Park Hospital in Oak Park, Illinois, which is, Oak Park is the home of Ernest Hemingway and the voice of Homer Simpson, Dan Castellaneta, and then me. I'm the fifth most famous person from Oak Park. Sometimes the fourth, depending on how the world happened. Monsieur. This is the first of 3 books of the Ronan Boyle series.
This one.
unless I get really greedy and make it 8 or 9 books. Currently, the funny thing about kids, when you start writing novels, by the way, you have your whole life to write your first novel, it turns out. Second novel, you get 1 year. So I just finished the first draft of the second book, which right now is called Ronan Boyle and the Swamp of Certain Death. And it's very exciting. It's a journey into Tir na Nog. We go to the world, the land of unicorns for a little bit. We meet lots of different creatures. It's been a lot of fun. Yes, Monsieur. Okay, that's great. I just want to give it to parents. Every time you watch, I wrote Night at the Museum, the movie with my partner Ben Durant. We used to do, for grown-ups, we used to do Reno 911. But every time you watch Night at the Museum, buy a new DVD. Because then I make like 35 cents. Miss. I can't tell you how many times I've watched the Lego movie. It's terrific. Are you talking about the Lego movie or the Lego movie Part 2? We'll get into it later. Well, I don't know how it rated for you. I will say that we were nominated for an MTV Best Kiss Award. So it obviously had to be in the canon of all-time great kisses. We were nominated for an MTV Best Kiss Award, and we lost, which was a travesty, I believe a miscount, but we lost to a little movie called Twilight. Maybe you've heard of it. The vampires that like going outside in the daytime. That should have disqualified them immediately. My man, you got another question.
What is that instrument you're playing?
This is everybody thinks this is a funny instrument, but it's actually just a regular guitar. It's super small, I know. So this is designed to be the most compact guitar that exists. This is the only guitar that's been into space. Remember that weird guy that was on the International Space Station for like a year? This is the guitar that he brought. And, not to brag, I played this guitar one time for Clint Eastwood. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll wait. When I was in what all critics said was Clint Eastwood's worst film. Should we do another question, or we'll go right into it? We're going to sing a second song. At some point I'm going to sign books too. If you have books, I'll sign them to you. Can I make a suggestion? Don't have me sign the book to you or your kids. Because they know that they were here and we had a good time. But Christmas, the holidays come around, and you have the book lying around, everybody already read it, and it's already signed to one of the cousins. You have an amazing backup gift that's ready to go. Oh, you can think of it. By the way, every time you read the book, buy a new copy. This is another Leprechaun protest song. There's one more Leprechaun protest song. Again, I don't agree with the views and opinions of the leprechauns. They're disgusting creatures who do really nasty things. This is a song that leprechauns like to sing, and it's called How Green the Fields Will Be. It goes just like this. How green the fields will be, and we all shall be so gay, when the time has finally come on that blessed joyous day, when we stand as one together, like the prophecies have said, when the people are united, and the unicorns are dead. When the unicorns are dead, will be the day that matters. And we'll put them in a pile, and we'll dance on their cadavers, and we'll sing over their dead bodies, and our voices will be one, and there won't be any unicorns around to spoil the fun. Oh, we'll bring some pass-arounds and snacks and relish in the feeling, and we'll count dead unicorns for days and hope it makes a zillion. When the unicorns are dead, oh, it's such a wondrous day. When the unicorns are dead, think how much we'll save on hay. When the unicorns are dead, we'll make knickknacks from their skulls, and we won't miss them for a second, 'cause they were so horrible, and they never liked us anyway, and we don't like them neither. And we'll poison them with cyanide and toss them in the river. We'll congratulate each other and clap each other's backs. We'll give medals to the leprechauns who led the dawn attacks. And we'll dance until the morning, busters and britches and our zippers. Then we'll find one last unicorn and we will toss them into chippers. And then we'll find another one, we'll poke him in the eye. And you know he'll beg for mercy and we'll say, sure, yeah, okay guy. But really we're just bluffing, and we'll get this one too. And we'll stuff them and we'll mount them and we'll toss them in the zoo. Oh, this plan will be so perfect. For sure it's not the worst. And all that really matters is we have to get them first. When all the unicorns are dead, such a wondrous day. When all the unicorns are dead, the world will be so gay. I personally have nothing against unicorns. They're fine by me. But leprechauns hate them a whole lot. One of the big dishes that they sell, if you've read the book. Monsieur, yeah. Red shirt guy, and then we'll go next to, yeah.
What? Leprechauns hate unicorns
Mhm.
so much, then why'd they add unicorn marshmallows to Lucky Charms?
That's a great point. Because what's more satisfying than eating your enemy? I don't know if you've read Shakespeare's Titus Andronicus. We'll get to that later. My man.
Are you ever going to record an album?
That's a great idea, because I feel like it would win many awards. So yeah, the answer is probably yes. Yeah,
Nice.
Definitely for sure. Mademoiselle.
What was your favorite film you ever
My favorite film that I was ever in or wrote?
in?
In. In is easy. It's Memento,
Nice.
which is like one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. I remember when I read Memento, I laughed out loud when he says, am I chasing him or are they chasing me? And I was like, oh, this is going to be a big hit. Yeah. Questions? Questions? Are you wearing a Taylor Swift shirt? Great shirt. We'll do next. We'll do Bad Blood. Ready?
What was the most fun part about filming a Puppet Master movie?
Oh, the Puppet Master movie. That is probably one of the most grotesque movies ever. Everything about it was really fun, but the most fun thing about it was I became friends with Udo Kier, which was a real trip. Yes, monsieur.
Did you want to be an actor first, or did you want to be a screenwriter first?
I thought I'd be a really serious actor. I went to New York and I was like, I'm going to be in like Hamlet and like Titus Andronicus. Turns out everybody who met me thought I was goofy. And I just was like, well, make it work. Monsieur.
What do you have against unicorns?
What do I have against unicorns? I have nothing, as I think I said, I have nothing against unicorns. Leprechauns hate them very much. You'll see in book 2, well, because unicorns have everything they want. Sometimes you just want an enemy. Violet, you're turning violet, Violet, yes. How long have I been performing? I became a professional actor 10 years before your mommy was born in 1985. So I joined the Screen Actors Guild, it was 1985. Yeah. It was a great year.
When is the state going to get back together?
Nice.
We do talk about it all the time. And we would definitely do it if we didn't fight every second of the day. The state will do something together soon. We're all very close. Like our kids go to school together. We spend a tremendous amount of time together. It's a great group of people that we can't escape. Yeah, it's like your family on the bad days.
If Officer Dangle could have an opinion about unicorns, what would it be?
Oh, he's firmly on the side of unicorns, for sure. Oh, for sure. They fit in the new dude goofing category, so. Monsieur.
What kids' books influenced you when you were a
Oh,
kid?
thank you for asking. This is an excellent question. So when I was around 11 or 12, I read Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It remains to this day the funniest thing I've ever read or seen. And then all of the follow-ups, there's a lot of them. So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, there's even more. The Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul. Does somebody know every single one of them? Yes?
Well, mostly harmless.
Mostly Harmless. which
Long
is
Dark
what
Tea Time of the Soul was their
Long Dark
chimney.
Tea Time of the Soul.
And then
Yeah.
I think it was
Mostly Harmless, by the way, if you haven't read Douglas Adams, they do like a 1,000-year experiment where they try to study Earth and see what it's like, and the whole report that comes back is mostly harmless. There's many great things about Douglas. If you haven't read Douglas Adams, you will laugh till you cry. And so when I started writing this book, I thought about myself at that age, and I wanted to write a book that was that, attempting to be that funny. I would never claim to be that funny, but I certainly was trying to be that funny. Monsieur?
My friends like unicorns.
Let's have a conference call. I want to like them too. This is before I read the book and knew all about what they're really like. The answer is unicorns are fine. Leprechauns are horrible. So these songs are written by leprechauns. My man.
What inspired you to write the book?
I was in Ireland and I was staying in an old castle close to the town that my grandmother's from. And there was a shillelagh up on the wall, which is, if you see that word in the book, it's in there a lot. It looks like shillelagh because Irish words have funny spellings. But somebody explained to me when Irish people couldn't carry metal weapons in Ireland, they would carry amazing wooden clubs. And so I was looking at the shillelagh on the wall, and I started thinking about, what if this was like the tool for your job? So like, what if you fought crime, and the thing that you carried was a shillelagh? And then I had a crazy fit of inspiration, and then 2 years later the book was done. Yeah, crazy inspiration still takes a long time, most times. I'm going to read you one more section, then we'll do some more questions. We'll talk about unicorns. We'll talk about the Lego movie. They get into the Knockbottom, which is the land of the leprechauns, and okay, here we go. On it was scribbled the name of a notorious Knockbottom establishment called Bob and Thing's Famous Pickle Parlour. Captain de Valera rolled both her green and brown eyes up simultaneously in disgust. The pickle parlour is the rock bottom of this town. Nothing but lowlifes. Stay on your toes, boy, she said. Our journey to Bob and Thing's Famous Pickle Parlour took Lily, the captain, and me from the left end all the way to the far side of Knockbottom, which it turns out is about a 3-minute walk. Bob and Thing's Famous Pickle Parlour exists outside of the very few laws of Knockbottom because it lies below the city limits, and one must ride an ancient hand-crank lift made from an old pickle barrel down to the outer bluffs to the tunnel that leads into the parlour, which is in a cavernous rathskeller below the city. The captain ordered Lily to wait at the surface as a backup in case we got into serious trouble. Honestly, I didn't always understand the commands between Lily and the captain at this early point in the training, but it seemed they knew each other very well, and the one thing that was certain was that Lily could be trusted to the ends of the earth. As Captain de Valera and I rode down in the lift barrel, we could hear accordion music pumping from below us. The captain explained to me the history of the place, which goes like this. Bob and Thing's Famous Pickle Parlour is a speakeasy that was opened in 1723 by a leprechaun named Bob the Giant. He was 2 feet 3 inches tall. His partner was a thing, and nobody ever knew exactly what it was, so they just called him that thing. Depending on whom you ask, that thing either looked like an enormous bat with tiny wings or a morbidly obese rat with mutton chops. Nobody knew much about him except that he had magnificent back hair that he would brush with a mother-of-pearl comb. That thing was the brains of the operation and famous for his business acumen. Bob was the front man who dealt with customers. Since the day they opened, the pickle parlour has only served one thing: pickles straight out of the barrel. But not just any pickles. The pickles served at Bob and Thing's Famous Pickle Parlour are 1,000,000 times spicier than anything a human being could eat. If a human were to take one bite out of a pickle parlour pickle, he would explode. I regret to tell you there are memorials in Collins House to 2 Garda officers who attempted to eat the very mildest pickle on the parlour's menu. Their smouldering hats and shoes were found 3 miles away from Knockbottom in opposite directions. But somehow, leprechauns love to eat these pickles, not just because of the spiciness, but because of the out-of-body experience that comes from eating something that's 1,000,000 times hotter than a Carolina Reaper. So believe it or not, leprechauns come to Bob and Thing's famous pickle parlor and pay several euros to eat one of these horrible items. What happens next is called the pickle fits. Watching leprechauns in the depths of the pickle fits is not a pretty sight. First, the leprechaun turns bright red, then smoke blasts from his ears, nose, and behind. The blast from the bottom is often so powerful that it launches them into the ceiling of the pickle parlor, which is padded with old mattresses for this very reason. The next stage of the pickle fits is the unstoppable giggles, and the leprechaun simply cannot stop laughing, while he dances like his insides are full of rattlesnakes, and then lets out a burp that often burns off his eyebrows. And leprechauns love this. Perhaps the strangest thing of all about the pickle fits is that they only last for about 12 seconds, which leads a lot of poor leprechauns to a life of chasing the fits, as it's called, where they try to recreate the experience over and over again. We'll read one more section in a little bit, but anyway, that's part of the middle part. And then I'll sing a brief song about, maybe we'll sing this and then we'll ask some questions and we'll sign some books, yeah? So this is a song about, that leprechauns sing about eating pickles that make them fart until they hit the ceiling. And it goes exactly like this. Got a toot that's in me pooper, gonna pickle to the moon. Got a toot that's in me pooper, gonna pickle to the moon. Got a toot that's in me pooper, gonna pickle to the moon. I won't be gone for long, and yet I will not be back soon. When it comes to making pickle toots, well, there ain't nothing like a pickle juice. If the pickles are enough, then I ain't no proof. Can you see me on the moon? If I can make it through the roof. Got a toot that's in me pooper, gonna pickle to the moon. Got a toot that's in me pooper, gonna pickle to the moon. Got a toot that's in me pooper, gonna pickle to the moon. I won't be gone for long, yet I will not be back soon. So that's another song the leprechaun taught me. Maybe I'll read in a minute, but maybe we should sign some books. And then, yeah. Cool, let's sign some books. I recommend by 10 or 12 minimum. You're at 8. You're winning. It's not a contest, but you're winning.
Alright, so let's see, we're going to start with...
How are we starting it?
We're starting at 401.
Oh, you get called up like a raffle. Has everybody read Shirley Jackson's The Lottery? Whoever wins